Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about the potential for some pretty big snowstorms for the upper Midwest. And that is because of several reasons. There's going to be a pattern change, so there won't be as many cold temperatures or cold fronts passing through the eastern U.S., so the eastern U.S. will stay a little bit warmer. However, the upper Midwest may still see several big snowstorms, so that will be interesting to note and observe. This is just a very, I'm not talking about a specific snowstorm or anything of that sort, just a pattern that may be favorable for a couple of snowstorms. By the way, if my voice sounds a little bit off, I have a stuffed nose. I'm not really, sick. It's just a really stuffed nose. It's kind of like a sinus. I don't know if it's allergies of some sort. Whenever this started, this sinus infection or whatever you want to call it, I was harvesting some seeds actually, marigold seeds, and I don't know, maybe it was the pollen that was remaining on it. They were frozen, they were dead at that point, but I got a stuffed nose. Not sick, I'm feeling perfectly fine. It's not, my head's fine. I don't have a headache, just a little bit of stuffed nose. So I apologize if it sounds a little bit weird. Let's jump right into this. Oh, before we do, consider subscribing to this channel. Consider liking this video. It really, really, really means a lot to me. I really like it when you guys just, leave a nice comment as well. That tells me whether you like these type of videos, and it lets me know if these type of videos are going to continue to come out based on your liking. So thank you so much. Let's look at the GFS model. This is just one of the many models we look at, and notice that they put out a very nice cold front right now after this big system that is still occurring. By the way, I'm recording this at 5:41 p.m. November 11th, 2019, and if you want me to make a video about, or not a video, a live stream. Yes, a live stream. I don't do that often, but I do it once in a while if it's a big event. I just decided I have a little bit of free time today, not much homework, no big tests in the near future in the vicinity, but I may do a live stream about this winter storm. So if you want me to do that, please let me know in the comment section box below. That would be really, really helpful, and I do read all comments. So, if you want a live stream about this snowstorm today, consider commenting. So that passes through. We get a big, we're stuck in this pattern where we basically see a trough after trough diving into the U.S. The trough moves out, leaves space kind of, for a potential pattern change, right? And then we see another trough and another trough, and that's what we've been seeing. If you look at the November anomalies, first 9 days is just brutal cold across the eastern U.S. Not too, cold across the western U.S. In fact, above average, but just a ridiculous cold across the across the eastern U.S. So if we were to look at this in the future, that the trough pattern really breaks down, and we do see some light troughing. Notice how Thursday and into Friday we see a light pattern starting to develop. It's a trough, if you will, not really just a little bit of some chilly or below average temperatures, but then that kind of gets sent to the north, and we see a clipper system, rain, snow. Definitely it's moisture starved. Really, the main system is up to the north by Hudson Bay and James Bay, which are these kind of like the Great Lakes of Canada. And notice how these are, by the way, connected directly to the Atlantic Ocean. So this is where polar bears live, where my cursor is right now, and you can see here's a border from U.S. and it's always fascinating to note how people think polar bears are some creature of the far north, and only way up by Alaska or any of that sort. Seriously, if you were to drive from the peak of Minnesota, International Falls, let's say, maybe a 12-hour drive, 15-16-hour drive, good roads, you'd be by polar bear region. So, that's how long it takes from like Chicago to get to Colorado. So, it's just to put that to reference. But notice how we get a green-blue mixture. It's not really well defined. It's moisture starved. Has no really anything to work with. We notice how there could be a potential system in the East Coast. Strong winds, really the only thing with this. Again, very far out, still a week out, which in terms of weather isn't terribly far out, but it's enough where this thing could completely disappear, or it could turn out to be a big snowstorm. Yeah, we should see, and rather chances for a big snowstorm are low. But notice a little bit of snow, quite a bit of snow actually for the inner parts of the northeast interior New England, but nothing for the coastal areas, maybe just some rain. and some strong winds. Notice then we get into a ridging pattern. We haven't seen this in a while across the central U.S., a ridging pattern. Last time we saw a ridging pattern was late October, not even late October. It was like mid to early October. If you remember early October, the first couple of days of October, the first 10, I should say, so the first third of the month, kind of puts it in more perspective than first couple of days. You see, if you remember, we were in a ridging pattern, very warm temperatures across the eastern U.S., and that was kind of like Hades. I mean, seriously, some of the southern U.S. was just absolutely getting baked by the hot temperatures, and you must remember September. September was just the all-out brutal month. It was just so warm. I misforecasted that month. I thought it was going to be personally cooler and chillier, but again, I'm not scared to confess up to my mistakes. Like some people, some meteorologists do that. Not many. Most, I guess, give up and make up to their mistakes, or, they basically say, I made a mistake. I made a big one for the September forecast. It was a failure, but my October forecast, I would say I would give myself like a B+, A-. September, I would say it was a D-, honestly, one of the worst things I've ever done. And then November, I'm calling again for cooler temperatures across the eastern U.S., similar to October brings. And right now, it's, I would give myself an A+. However, that grade may go down as we go into further month. You can see we have a ridging pattern going on, and we have some potential for a snowstorm. So that is interesting. You can see across upper Midwest, and that is why I think this video should be titled, why we could be seeing more snowstorms across the Midwest, because often when we see a warming in the eastern U.S., like the eastern third, not just like, east of the Rockies, the eastern third, kind of east of the Mississippi, if you will, which runs right through Illinois, Iowa, and into the southern U.S., Arkansas, Tennessee, right through there. That's the Mississippi River, and originates in Minnesota from the land of 10,000 lakes, or 1,000, I think it's 10,000 lakes. There's way more, by the way, than that. So, you can see that there's a big ridge, and often with these ridges, we see big storms coming from the Pacific. I'm not trying, am I not? I'm doing just clicking on a sounding. So, there's big storms that come into the Pacific, and in this case, there is some Pacific moisture with this. You notice how there's quite a bit of snow for the mountains. Ski resorts will be benefiting from that. It has been a while since Colorado has seen quite a bit of snow. They started off season very strong. Now they're, about average, I would say. They're lacking a little bit, but it's fine. It's probably gonna make it up. But notice how there's a ridge right here. So the high pressure is in charge right there. Basically, what it's doing is spinning clockwise, like all high pressures do in the northern hemisphere. And notice how it's just keeping the jet stream kind of up to the north. Where does the storm go? Nah, it's not gonna go, through the high pressure. It's basically taking the path of least resistance, kind of like molecules and atoms do in the molecular world. They want to go where the least resistance is. The storm is the same thing. I mean, just on a way larger scale. They're gonna go up and above, and usually when there's far north, and this late in the season, October 21st, relatively speaking, usually some pretty heavy snow occurs across North Dakota, Montana, and just the upper Midwest. Which again, I think there could be quite a bit of big snowstorms coming for the upper Midwest. So that's gonna be the title of today's video. So that's where the origin of today's video title is, in case you're wondering. And then we move forward, we see this system. Also notice how this did originate from the Pacific right there in these slides. While this storm is occurring, we see a Pacific low coming in that gives way to some pretty heavy snow. Usually with these systems we see insane snowfall rates, but that's not it. You can see a pretty big system arriving. This is very far out, but I think overall the GFS has it right that there will be seeing of a pattern change, more of a western storm, western Pacific type storms evolving into monster Midwest snowstorms, upper Midwest snowstorms, rather than like what we've been seeing, troughs after trough with some Alberta Clippers and strong cold fronts. Notice this thing seems to disappear, like came in strong, and in the mountains it disappears. Well, look at this right there. It just evolves into a very interesting scenario. We have the original low way up here, that is by South Dakota, and I think that's Manitoba. Yes, that's Manitoba. And then look at this. We see another low develop from the moisture that is being drawn up by this low, and that it's kind of like a double whammy. And it's another potential snowmaker for the upper Midwest. Is it, it's not going to be probably this exact scenario. A pretty big storm may occur. It might dump a lot of snow for the upper Midwest, but at this point, it seems like if, the details are not even close to being refined whatsoever. So the point being, it looks as if the pattern will be changing. So yes, the cold air will not stay too cold or too oppressive in the east, as we will be seeing warmer temperatures on the east coast and maybe a little bit more precip for the northwest and California. So many have been getting many questions, being like, when is the drought of the Northwest going to end? It seems like there's some big pattern changes going on, and the models have been indicating that for quite a while now. It's just been a little bit pushed back now, but it seems like more and more confidence in those big storms across the Northwest, which again will which usually give way big Pacific monsters in early fall or late fall, I should say, the beginning of the winter season and late spring. They usually give way to monster storms in the Midwest, like this one right here we have in front of us. Will this occur on this date? Most likely not. In this type of fashion, most likely not. But will there be some sort of disturbance, some sort of storm system, some sort of a cyclone that will bring snow and rain and just a potpourri of overall very messy weather? Probably. That's it may seem ridiculous 3 hour to 384 forecasting it, but I've seen this several times where I've been like, okay, this is not going to happen, or it's 100 300 hours out. Not going to happen, these storms. And then it disappears for a while, and then it shows up in like the 132, 138 time frame. And from there, it just grows in confidence, and we see a big snowstorm. So this would be around the Thanksgiving time frame, these big systems. And Thanksgiving time frame, we usually don't see snow across the lower Midwest or the southeast or the Mid-Atlantic, where we are seeing snow right now across Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Missouri, which, is unique and unusual. So, almost rare. So, just to give you a point of reference. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see a live stream today, please comment that down below. And I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.